What happens when the two people you trust most betray you in the worst possible way? Maya thought her life was perfect until one shocking moment shattered everything she knew. But what happens next will leave you speechless. Stay with us till the end, because you won't believe the truth that's about to unfold. My name is Maya, and my world was shattered in an instant. The man I had spent over 2 decades with, the father of my 2 children, and the man I had loved with all my heart, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. But I didn't know how deep that betrayal ran until it was too late. For as long as I could remember, my husband, Arjun, had been my everything. We met in college, and from the very first day, I knew he was the one. We built a life together from the ground up to college kids with big dreams, who eventually became a married couple, then parents. We had everything I could have ever wanted. A beautiful home, wonderful children, and a love that seemed unbreakable. But there were whispers of doubt, little cracks that I tried to ignore. Aryan's late night work calls, his sudden need for more space, and his increasing distance all felt like a slow, steady warning bell that I couldn't quite place. I kept telling myself it was just stress from his job or the demands of family life. He would always tell me, everything's fine, Maya, don't worry. But then came the night that changed everything. That it was a quiet evening. One of those rare moments when both of our children were asleep early and the house was peaceful. Arjun and I had planned a dinner date, a small tradition we'd started after the kids were born to remind ourselves that we were more than just parents. We were a couple. We deserved time for ourselves. But that night, something felt different. Something in the air was off, and I couldn't shake the feeling. After dinner, we came home, and I was looking forward to just relaxing with him. But as soon as I stepped into our bedroom, the sight that greeted me hit me like a wave, knocking the air out of my lungs. My mother, Priya, the woman who had always been my biggest support, was sitting on the edge of our bed with Arjun. The way they were sitting, the intimacy between them, it felt all wrong. It felt like a dagger had pierced my heart, and I couldn't breathe. I froze in the doorway, my mind trying to comprehend what I was seeing. Aryan's face went pale when he saw me, and he scrambled to get up. My mother's eyes widened with guilt, but there was no apology, no remorse, just shame. Maya, wait, I can explain, Arjun started, his voice shaky, but I couldn't hear him. My world had just crumbled into dust, and I felt it all, every shred of betrayal. Every moment of trust that had been shattered. I turned to my mother, my voice barely above a whisper. How could you, after everything I've done for you, after all the love and respect I've given you both, how could you do this to me? My mother didn't answer immediately. She just stared at me, as though seeing me for the first time. And in that silence, I realized just how much had been concealed from me. Mom, tell me this isn't true. Please tell me this isn't happening. But the silence was her confession. I never wanted you to find out like this, Maya, Priya said softly, her voice filled with regret, but not the kind that could undo what had been done. We've been seeing each other for years. The world tilted beneath me. I couldn't make sense of it. Arjun, the man I had trusted with my life, and my mother, the woman who had raised me, had been hiding their affair for more than a decade. The years of love, the promises, the memories, they were all lies. My entire life had been built on a foundation of deceit. But the worst part wasn't just that they had betrayed me. It was that they had done it with each other. The two people I trusted most had shattered my world. And in that moment, I realized I didn't know who I was anymore. Why, Arjun? Why her? I asked, my voice trembling with pain. Why did you do this to me? He didn't answer right away. His eyes were filled with regret, but it didn't matter. The truth had already hit me too hard. We just got closer over time, Maya. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. It just did. Arjun explained, his voice desperate. You didn't mean for it to happen, I screamed, my voice breaking. You didn't mean for it to happen, but you've been lying to me for years. I've given you everything, Arjun, everything. At that moment, I couldn't stay in the same room as them. I couldn't breathe in the space where my life had been destroyed. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking as I dialed my father's number. When he answered, I could barely get the words out. Dad, I need you. Please come over right now. The hours that followed were a blur. My father arrived, his face filled with the same disbelief that had consumed me. He didn't ask questions, didn't say anything. He just held me as I cried. But even his comforting arms couldn't stop the storm that was raging inside me. I need to know the truth. Maya, my father said after a long silence, I'll get DNA tests done for the kids. I need to know if any of them are his. It wasn't the question that stung, it was the fact that I had to ask it. The thought of my children possibly being raised by someone who wasn't their father, the man who I had trusted to protect them, it felt like a knife to my soul. The days that followed were a blur of shock, denial, and deep sorrow. I couldn't bring myself to face Arjun or my mother. The betrayal was too much. The pain was suffocating. But then came the call that would change everything. Maya, my father said softly. The results came back. They're all Aryan's children. The words hit me like a train, but at the same time, they gave me clarity. My life with Arjun was over. There was no going back. The man I had loved, the man I had trusted, had never truly been the person I thought he was. And my mother, how could she have done this to me? The woman who had taught me about love, about loyalty, had destroyed everything I thought I knew. About trust, I left that night. I couldn't stay in that house, in that life that had become nothing more than a lie. I took the kids and went to my best friend's house, Clara, who had been my rock through everything. She didn't ask questions. She just opened her door and let me in, and for the first time in days, I let myself cry. I cried for the love I had lost, for the future that was stolen from me, for the shattered pieces of my heart. But it wasn't the end. I slowly began to rebuild, piece by piece. I had to, for my children, for myself. The days were long, filled with therapy, deep conversations, and painful realizations. But with each passing day, I grew stronger. I would never forgive them, not for the betrayal, not for the lies. But I realized that forgiveness wasn't for them. It was for me. It was the key to my healing. I had to let go of the anger, the bitterness, the poison that threatened to consume me. I began to find peace in the small things, watching my children grow, laughing with Clara, rediscovering myself. I found joy in the moments I had once taken for granted. And though the road was long, I emerged from the ashes stronger than ever. I am Maya. I am a mother. I am a woman who has reclaimed her life, her strength, and her power. And now, no one can ever break me again.